Hey guys, happy Friday. I hope everybody is well. They're having a good week. This is the Raw Magic Podcast. I am here with Marabella. We are going to talk about processing trauma, the magic of trauma, really. Hey Marabella.
Hi, Skye. Hi, everyone. How
Hey
are you?
guys. Yeah, so this is a good topic. A lot of the topics we've been doing recently are off the back of trauma. I've been going through some things that have been coming up, and it's made me realize, and we are kind of talking about this in the podcast we did before this, just about how trauma comes up on Raw. Like we do feel things a lot more. Hey.
hmm Yeah, it's so true. I think our systems are so clear. I don't think we notice when we're not raw sometimes that we use foods to numb sometimes. And the cooked processed foods have a way of making us a little bit more dull, a little less sharp, maybe a little more tired. And when we are raw, we can be so clear, like clear
Mm.
headed. Our minds are clear, our sinuses, everything's clear. And I think you pick up on things so much easier. It's so much easier to feel into how you're feeling. And so we talked earlier about how when you were going through trauma, and what I appreciate about you is how when you're going through your trauma, you're so honest with what you're going through, and it's almost like you're just going to go through it as honestly and truthfully as you can, and then you get to the other side. I love that. I know it can feel scary to people to do that, but it's so effective, and it's the quickest way. I feel like if you numb, the trauma is still there, whether you're numbed out or not, and it has these crazy ways of coming out. Um, but if you're honest and true and going through it with an open heart as best as you can. I know it's not I'm not saying to like voice everything to everyone all the time, but like to yourself, being so true um, to yourself, going heart center, processing, paying attention to what is going on. I feel like that is like the best way to go through it.
I agree. And I also think about the numbing of trauma is if things come up and you need to slow down, you need to sit in it, you need to assimilate. If you start numbing, this is my experience with whichever way, it can be drugs, alcohol, excessive exercise, it can be a healthy choice, right? Is you will have a new trauma. So you'll create a new trauma loop. So if I look over my past, I was trying to deal with trauma with numbing, and all I did is create more trauma after that. I believe the way the body and mind and soul are built is it will not let you escape trauma. So just say you're going through a work, your career is not going good, and you're coming home and you're drinking and you're drinking. Do you think the drinking is going to fix what's going on, or do you think you'll start getting heartburn, digestive issues, weight gain, and you'll start stressing about your weight? You'll start stressing that you have constant head fog at work, right? So you start creating more trauma by not processing trauma. So
Exactly. And
I'll try and give it.
feeling bad the next day, a lot of things can add um, feeling bad, acting in weird ways. And it leads to addiction. And then it's the same
Yes.
thing day after day after day. Yeah, absolutely. Um,
Yes.
one of the ways that I deal with trauma is that I do drink a lot of green juice, and I notice that when I drink it, I feel really, really good. And I think it's like, I would say that I am addicted to it, but I think it's a really good addiction. But it can really help. It helps to, I notice if I don't drink green juice every day, if I skip a couple of days, I don't feel as grounded. I don't feel as centered. I don't feel as like my true self. And so that's one of the ways that if I'm going through some type of trauma, or I can remember like for the first, because I have been raw or high raw since 2022. And I know a lot of things were coming up for me from my past. I would just have flashbacks or memories or dreams of things from the past, different situations. And I noticed that when I drink green juice, eating raw too, of course, helps, but specifically the green juice, I can sail through things a lot more calmly and really process. I can think back, I can think to myself, what am I feeling? Um, why am I feeling this way? Maybe where did this stem from? Maybe where is this the first time that I ever felt this way before? And go back and think about that. And there's something about remembering where that first came from, that gives you such clarity, because then you realize, oh, well, this is the root of the issue. Okay, well, now it's past. What do I need to do to get past it? Somebody mentioned walking, exercise.
Yeah, I've got
Um,
this up on the screen.
yeah, walking, amazing. Exercise, amazing. All those things. So great for like working through your trauma.
They definitely are. When I was outdoors 16 hours a day and I was eating all fresh food, as in like greens, fruit, no nuts and seeds, nothing from a packet, you're so present that trauma really doesn't affect you the same. It's very hard to sit in trauma if you're completely present. You're only feeling that moment.
Yeah.
But before we move across, when it comes to addiction, so I have been on opioids for 10 years, stimulant medication for 15 years, SSRIs for 20 years. I was an alcoholic. My liver failed from it. I smoked. I vaped. So basically, we're talking about all the families of medications here, except and a huge amount of psych meds, a huge amount of other meds as well. I was sick for 32 years. I feel like I've been addicted to everything. Never marijuana. I think that's the only family. Um, so there's some addictions I've had to overcome. You can't touch the sides for me with those level of addictions without fresh, raw, whole foods, grounding, movement, sunlight, getting
Yes.
outdoors. I would not be able to deal with overcoming, and that's like for me the first step. Someone's asked, how long does it take to create a new habit? Did that get deleted?
Mm.
That I think it got deleted. Oh no, how many weeks?
Oh.
3 weeks minimum.
Mhm.
21 days will be the first stage. You never really get rid of an addiction. Speak to any alcoholic. The addiction never goes. You get better at overcoming the addiction. So when you have all these pathways set up in the brain, which link back to addiction. So every time you get stressed, you walk outside and have a cigarette. Every time you get stressed, you walk outside and have a cigarette. That gets cemented for however long I smoked, 20 years, right? And then you stop that and you get stressed. Your behavior tells you to go outside and have the cigarette, right? And you're now going to go outside and have a green juice, right?
Yes.
At the start, especially when you feel the most damaged and the most weakest, and you're the most weakest because you've got nicotine in your system, right? And the dopamine receptors are craving it, right? Because that's what you've always had, is you have to find strength beyond strength. And I feel like there's a self-talk you need to overcome those first levels of addiction. First level of overcoming addiction is definitely different than years later or weeks later even. You have to just talk to yourself because you've got this physiologically, biochemically based addiction craving, as well as overwhelming thoughts, as well as your overwhelming anxiety, as well as all the detrimental effects that 20 years in this example of nicotine's done. And you're now going to give it a green juice. You have to say, this is what I need
Yes.
to do. I have to do this now. That you're fighting a demon, right? And
Mhm.
I found the best way to overcome all my addictions that I've ever come off is to do the behavior with with something that you want to replace it with. So I never didn't go to the table and chair that I would smoke at. I would go at this, I get the stressed. I go outside to have the cigarette to the table. I'd play music the same way, but I would replace it with something that I wanted to and pretend that it was addictive. So I would do tea. I stopped drinking, drinking, vaping with tea. And I would just pretend that it's going to give me a hit. I would, in my head, this thing is addictive because I couldn't let go of getting something from everything yet. And how I helped myself with that was multiple teas. So I would do sometimes peppermint, sometimes chamomile, sometimes ginger, and especially in ginger, I put more ginger and lemon, like so it was stimulating.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just, or when I quit alcohol, I would use the wine glass or coffee, and I would just put a different drink in it, like mineral water. I pretend, and I'd still listen to my music and pretend I'm going to get a hit from it because I couldn't let go of it straight away. That helps
Yes.
a lot when it comes to heavy and hard addictions.
Yeah.
So, and when it comes to marijuana, I've been in psychiatric units, I've seen ice addicts, and this, I said this the other day to a friend of mine, the saddest, and I've 10-month stints being scheduled 5 times in that 10 months. The saddest thing I see is young men, this is what I see in psych units, who have smoked marijuana after work or on the weekends to relieve stress, and it's helped until the voices come. There's no,
Oh,
they say there's no warning. It's just
yeah.
they don't switch off. So in these units, these people aren't like ice addicts out there talking to themselves. These people are lucid and talking,
Mm-hmm.
but so depressed because they can't get rid of voices. This induced schizophrenia. So no, none of these things, and all the studies say it, are not good, and you don't know how it's going to affect you next week. Like that,
Mm-hmm.
see these people, that's the saddest to me. When you see ice addicts, usually they have severe trauma before getting to that level of ice, and they're still in this, they're not there. But what is so sad when I've been in psych units is these young men. One of my friends in there, he just sent me a letter and said, oh, he's gone, he left, couldn't take it because he's so present, but he's switched on this depression. And yeah, so I know
I've
I've gone
seen
off.
that too in young men. I know two young men who have committed suicide, and they smoked marijuana, and they were fine until they weren't, and then they heard voices, and then they committed suicide. So I know of two people that has happened to, and it's so sad.
It
Um,
is.
I work with people with addictions through hypnosis, and hypnosis can be very helpful for addiction as well. And once we get them through the hypnosis process, you can do a lot with your breathing in order to let go of the feeling of the cravings too, just by programming in. By taking a deep breath and letting it go, I'm letting go of the cravings. And that really does help. And then moving to somewhere else and doing something different. Um, super, super helpful.
So someone's saying they can't hear me. Can you hear me, Marabella?
I can hear you.
Then it
Yes.
should be fine. It must be on your end
Yeah.
because the mic
I
is
can.
saying that it's on and up. I can
Mhm.
hold the mic. Um, yeah, so before you answer that question, Marabella, about joining the gym, can I ask what does the process look like for somebody who's dealing with addiction when they go through hypnosis? Like, take us through what that can look like.
So what it typically looks like is it's a deep, relaxing process to go into your subconscious, and then we go back to the moment that the addiction started, and we do a lot of work surrounding what was going on during that time. And sometimes it's a matter of pulling in your adult self to talk to the child self if it started, back in teenage years. And that can be really helpful. It's also about creating a new and healthy habit. So sometimes we will program in, like if it's sugar, we've programmed in that one lady said, I never want to have sugar again. Whatever you have to do. So we just programmed that it was yucky and poisonous. And she never touched sugar, as far as I know, since. It was super, super effective. So we go in and just do some inner work within the subconscious mind and reprogramming. And a lot of times it is with working with your child self, if that's where it started, because the addictions are multi layered. It's not just like well, some addictions are you just pick up something and you become instantly addicted, because there is that physical component to it, but a lot of times there's an emotional component to it as well. So we go in and we figure out what is going on, where the addiction started, that defining point, and work from there. And then I give you things to do for when the cravings, if and when the cravings come back, ways of your breath work to release the craving, or like Skye said, a replacement movement. So instead of going out and having a beer, maybe you go out and have a green juice. Um, so it's very effective. Hypnosis is super effective on addictions.
Okay, I love that. So someone said, Marabella, does joining a gym and walking in the morning help in quitting addiction and getting rid of anxiety, depression, and feel positive and motivated in life?
100%. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I feel like a lot of addictions are anxiety caused from anxiety.
Yes.
Um, I mean, just absolutely, or they feed each other. So 100%. And by getting up, as she said, as this person said, getting up, joining a gym, walking in the morning, all of that, that's creating a new habit. And then you feel so fantastic, like you start to feel good. And then you're kind of like above that addictive behavior to where you want to keep feeling good and you don't want to add the addictive behavior back in because you want to continue to feel good. It also can help if you backslide, helps you get back on track again too by creating these great habits. I love that comment. That's so good.
I love that. That too. And of course, I think when it comes to anxiety, um, I noticed that I won't have many of my addictions. I find once again the raw foods, movement, sunshine, exercise, being grounded keeps
Yeah.
it so present. I don't have to deal with a lot of it. But the anxiety, so when I fly, I always want to have a drink of alcohol, and I'm very aware that I'm very anxious. Like it's like, and I think I've always done that when I've flown. But I've got to the airport and had a glass of wine, or got on a plane. And so when I used to, anytime I've flown, I was never an alcoholic back then, but I didn't even realize I was self-medicating anxiety. Like as in, like when you get on the plane, is like you know you're traveling. I'm always scared. I've forgotten things. Am I going to make it? Have I got my passport? Now I'm going to be up in the air for a certain period of time. And I've numbed that and never realized that I was doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like through those healthy habits, like you said, Skye, you do become so aware. And I've noticed that too. I've noticed times where I've stopped drinking as well, but I've noticed times where I'll watch something with my husband on TV and then I'm like, I really want to drink. And I'm like, okay, I see this. They're drinking on TV, or this is like a stressful, anxious situation. I see that. Okay, well, I don't really want to drink. I'm just tuned into what they're doing. Or there'll be a time when I think the raw foods help me to become so aware. A stressful situation will help happen in my family, and I'll think, oh, I really want to have a glass of wine right now, but do I really? No, I don't really want to. I want to not feel what I'm feeling right now. So then I'll go step outside, walk on the ground, walk on the grass, go by the lake, and that feeling disappears. So as soon as you notice how you're feeling, you can take action and make a change, and you have choices. You realize you have choices. Yes, you can choose to have that glass of wine, or no, you don't have to, and the feeling disappears once you've taken action. So it's a beautiful process, like to just be here now, be in what's going on in the moment, be present.
Yeah, I think action is so important. I think for me and the level of addictions that I had, taking action really helps me. A lot of people might say, oh, you're running from something. And I'll be like, no, you can sit in a space of acknowledging you're not ready to face 32 years of illness, 60 surgeries, 8 organs removed, multiple addictions. Where do you even start with those levels? And for me, it's take action. When action becomes problematic is when, just say, exercise and foods, you or green juice, that you start making yourself sick by over drinking green juice or over exercising. That's a problem. And that's definitely time to start dealing with what the emotions are. But for me, it was so amazing to, every time I wanted a cigarette, I'd actually go and hug, because I was coming off alcohol and cigarettes, vaping, and I was, moving across the raw foods. I was always shaking and I had so many health problems. I found the grounding effects of nature, because the directional current of our bodies needing the earth, you actually calm the whole nervous system. And the only thing I had left was really nature. I didn't have a juicer, tea. And these helped me so much, because in the action of doing, so I don't know whether people know this, not just addictions, but everything that we do has an A and B response in the body, and is recalibrated by different levels of hormones and biochemical reactions in the body. And I'll give you an example of this, because I studied psychology, is when you're younger and it's a Saturday night and you are going to go out dancing with your friends and drink. So you, at about 6, 7 o'clock, you put clothes on, you get lots of laughs going on, you're doing your makeup, you play your favorite songs, you're around these same people, and you get in the car, it's dark, there's lots of lights as you go into the city, and you go in and you drink for the first time, and you're like, whoa, like this is so much fun, you're with your friends, whatever, okay. So you do this same thing again the next Saturday night. You put the same clothes on, you're with the same friends, you do something very similar, you go into the city, you're around dark with lots of lights, you go into a club which is really dark, lots of lights, and you drink. So your body, by nature, this A and B response in the brain, will start to learn that you are about to poison yourself or have a big hit of a stimulating alcohol, which gives you a lot of dopamine, serotonin, even the lights and stuff will do that. So as you get closer, your body will start decreasing the chemicals you're about to ingest on a Saturday night, pre-preparing that you will be, and the cues for this are, you'll get excited, you're around these friends, there's music, it gets dark, lots of lights. So by the time you get into this club, you now have to drink. Like the compulsion to drink, and you don't get as high. This is how addiction forms. And it doesn't just form with alcohol. The body is doing this for every routine, everything you do, so you don't die. And the example we were given in psych of how this works is people who overdose on things like heroin at much lower levels. So there was a guy who sorry, I can say heroin, but it had cocaine before. And he's only ever had it at night with his friends, usually after drinking. So you've got all these cues, right? When you've had, you're getting dressed up, you're with the same people, you go into the city, and just say you've had cocaine 5 or 6 times in a 6-month period, your body will now start making you feel not good. So that you have it, you need a bit to feel normal, and then you have a bit more, and that's how tolerance addiction forms. So this guy had some on his wedding day, and there was no precursor cues for having it, as in his body, it was less than he usually has, but he overdosed in the church because he was in a situation where he was more dehydrated as well, weaker. Not that he's probably dehydrated anyway when you're drinking on a Saturday night, but for whatever reason, and they're saying that's how overdose occurs. Your body isn't pre-preparing you. So when you start to fight addictions, you've got your A response comes in and lowers, so everything feels bad to make you have some to feel kind of normal, and then you have more to get a high. So that's, you've got to reset that. That's in my mind before you deal with why you're doing it. You've got to let that, you can't start trying to deal with why you go outside and smoke or why you have a coffee while your body's making you feel so terrible. You'll get confusion, your body will be sending you cues. So it's really important that there's different levels to these healing properties. And because you're feeling bad, things like exercise, sunlight, green juice, people who make your mood feel good will lift these A and B responses. You recalibrate. And then you want to be in the sun and you want green juice and you want to have all these other things when you start to feel bad.
Yes, that's so true. And then does it just sort of like maybe go the opposite direction because you start to feel so good.
Your body has to start making it again. So that's why
Yeah.
when you stop a drug, you feel so horrible, the worst for at least the first. Well, it takes about a 24 to 48 hours to completely get out of your system. But that first 3 to 4 day period, up to a week, is always the most intense and worst. And that's why people get the sweats and the chills. They don't stay
Mm,
forever unless you've got some sort of damage from the drugs, or it's caused some sort of neurological damage. Your body recalibrates. You're not ingesting it. So your body, and you'll keep sending the messages for you to do it. Why? Because the brain reroutes to the quickest action to get there, especially if stressed. So the way your brain calibrates is you can get rid of an addiction, but if you get stressed, the way that the adrenal system works is it wants everything very quickly. So if it
mhm,
wants to calm your system very quickly, it doesn't want you to go for a walk, a green juice, and a meditation. It will say cigarette,
mhm.
cigarette. You, on most days, it will be able to think clearly. Your whole system is calm. So having a regulated nervous system, and also checking in if you're stressed when your addiction comes up, because it's sending you back to an old, fast, quick pathway.
Yes. Yeah, that makes so much sense. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Uh, I think we were talking about this.
Well,
I think I
are
don't
the
think there's
easiest
any
positive
escape.
habits to develop while you are in addiction but trying to improve? I do like that question too. Yeah,
Yeah,
it is what we were talking about, huh?
well, yeah, because there's no you. What you want to do is get sustained dopamine. I'm just banning some comments here. Um, you want to get sustained dopamine as opposed to quick dopamine. And when I healed myself, what was really apparent about getting on the self love journey was keep putting things in which kept loving me back. So people will say, I'm like, do what your body needs. And people are like, no, my body says it needs pizza. And I'm like, but does it really?
Yeah,
20, like, because you only get gratification instantly. And maybe afterwards you might be like, oh, that was good. But you do get
right.
bloating, you do get slow digestion, you do get swelling, and you do get weight gain. So for me, that food isn't completely loving me back. So that
Mhm,
is a box where that's self-harm, Skye.
mhm,
It can't just be in the moment you put it in your mouth. It has to, as it goes through my whole system, does it love me back? And no cooked food loves me back. That's what I discovered and why I had to let go of cooked food for me. Because in a 24-hour cycle, I was always fatigued until I put the fresh carrot, the fresh salad, some fruit in. I'm like checking in, still feel good. As it goes through my bowel, I still feel good. As it comes out in the bathroom, I still feel good. In that 24 to 48-hour cycle, does exercise make me feel good?
mhm,
Do it? Yes, if I don't overexert myself. When I've finished, I feel good. I'm like, oh, this loves me back. If I chose to go to a nightclub or go outside and have a cigarette, yes, I get gratification instantly. But as that is still in my system, because it takes, I think, 72 hours for the cigarette to complete the nicotine in that cycle to come out. Don't quote me on that. I'm not sure how long nicotine's half life is, but it's not always loving me back because I get a really, really dry mouth. I feel really usually not good afterwards. I have a bit of a cough. So that to me was about, it's a twofold spirituality thing here because it's really about love, that self love.
yeah, I feel like the best place to start is a walk in nature because it doesn't cost you anything. It will raise your vibration no matter what's going on with you. It's a great place to start. Start with a walk in nature and then go to the best thing that you can choose. So, like Sky said, if you think your body's craving pizza, actually your body's hungry. A lot of times when we're hungry, we start to crave sugar, things that aren't good for us. But go a little higher. What could you have instead? Oh, maybe a salad. Make your choices. So, a walk in nature is a great place to start because it gets your mind, gets you focused, gets you open, heart centered, noticing what's around you, noticing the trees, noticing the beautiful scenery, noticing how you're feeling when you're walking in nature. So you're in a good space. And no matter what you're going through, addiction, not addiction, just having a great day, not having a great day, it can shift your mood immediately. Taking a walk barefoot on the grass, going to a lake, just going for a walk, noticing the trees, noticing the birds, noticing the flowers, noticing what's around you, really kind of tuning in with all of your senses. That is, I feel like that is the best place to start. And then from there, you can make a great choice. Like, you really want the pizza, but is it really, like she said, is it really the best thing for you? Go with a salad. You know, start with nature. I love that, the nature effect. If you have kids and they're driving you crazy, take them outside to play with them. Such a great place to start. And I know not everybody can get to nature, but you can always just walk barefoot. I feel like, Skye, when you were coming back, when you were healing, you only had like a little bit of sunlight, didn't you? Like a little place to go outside to, or like you could open the window and the air could come in and you could notice the breeze and things like that.
So when you're locked up in a psych unit, there's no breeze.
No
Um,
breeze.
that you can still see the sun and the moon by the window. And I
Yeah.
think when that fractured and that broken down is you don't trust anyone anymore. I don't even know whether you trust yourself. But what was so apparent through this is the sun and moon was still there. The sun will still come up, the moon will still come up. And I think by this stage, I didn't want to believe in anything that wasn't there for me at all times. And yes, you do get, once you get up out of the room, there's like a funny little courtyard. And I used to touch the plants and I used to take my shoes off and put my feet in the dirt. And of course, that's crazy. I remember being scheduled for apparently rolling in the mud because I was doing like stretches out the front, and it had been raining the night before. So my clothes got dirty. And I'm like, it's just, mental health is just such a sad place. But you notice a lot of psych patients have no shoes on because they're so unstable. There's something in us inherently that wants to ground, that wants to have your feet on the earth because you become present. Um, so I love the sun and moon and nature because it's always there. I swear there's no place on earth where at least one of them isn't there. And the result of
Mhm.
them, like flowers. I remember when I first could leave the unit. Remember, I'd been in a bedroom basically 15 years before this, surgeries or bed. I would get flowers and put them in the hair and get touched
Oh,
and get collect flowers and give them to the nurses. Like I wanted, it was part. That's why I say it's part of my awakening. Um,
wow.
but the other side to that, that I think people in the way the world is built is they're like, okay, I want to be a whole food, plant based, and they're eating processed food. They have a whole lot of addictions. They're severely dependent on alcohol. Have a very stressful job. But tomorrow they're going to wake up and only eat whole food plants. It's not possible because you haven't to get over one addiction and get working on a second addiction, you have to first get over the first addiction. You're better off picking one addiction and working on that. Will it be hard and will you think, how will I ever just eat natural foods? Hell yes, but that's part of what you have to undo. There's no shortcuts. You have to work hard. I always say, if all that's your situation, alcohol's the first to get rid of. Drugs will just confuse the system. And then you can work on getting rid of coffee or processed food, but just pick one. And a lot of people, the other thing is, if you want pizza, you can have pizza. But because people go, oh, I could never do that because I can't have pizza. You can have a plant-based pizza, have a
You
healthy
can.
process, or start being
Yes.
like, I'll order a salad or a soup at a restaurant, and then I'll have share the tacos with somebody. Like you have to start
Yes.
making good choices, and people don't want to do it because it feels uncomfortable. But if you're aware that, especially at the start, you're fighting addiction, no matter what change you make with that A and B response. If you keep doing it, you start to learn that you feel better with more plants. I've
Mm.
never, no matter if I think about how I've done life, all different ways, all different addictions before I found raw foods. If I'm so honest with myself, any time I've had more watery rich plants in my life, I have felt better.
Mhm.
So just things to think of. It's not an all or nothing situation. It's like, it's what I was saying in the last talk about, in our last podcast about how do I help people? You have to meet people where they're at because I want people to learn love. If you built yourself into health, you won't stay there. Like if you're like, I'm going to make myself feel so terrible just to get somewhere, you won't stay doing it. Um, so I've
Oh,
tried.
weird. She still can't, someone still can't hear you, but it,
Oh no,
I,
I think they're just trolling me. Nobody else is
oh,
hearing me.
okay. Okay, okay.
I've
Yeah,
tried.
There are
Oh,
so many different ways
yeah, I get.
of 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 like starting on raw or taking it slowly, maybe adding like a green juice to your day, or maybe like Sky said, have like the little slice of pizza, but have a big salad, try a plant-based pizza, so many different ways. Just becoming aware, I think, is huge. Being aware is just huge.
I agree.
Knowing.
I agree. Like the first part of it isn't like I'm aware now. I've got to like fix it. I've got to do something. I've got
Yeah.
everything. Being aware is a gift, right? Because then you
Yeah.
start thinking about it. Like
Mhm.
I remember going raw, and I was like, when I worked out how good it made me feel, I thought the whole world was going to go raw. I'm like, every part of my disease is gone. I'm like, look what I've done. Everyone's going to go raw. And then you realize, no, they're not going to go raw. And it to me, it's a reflection of spirituality, like as in like I'm talking at a certain level, and people just can't understand me because they're working at their own level. And I'm not saying they're on a worse
Yes.
level because we go up and down and round about, and some days are up, and so it's that what you're saying isn't hitting the same. Um, but I will say the one common theme when I came out and I was like, I'm fixed and I do raw is most people came at me, and this is like everyone I knew, I was telling I'm raw with why they couldn't do something, do raw.
Mm.
There was a couple of people. One person said, I like berries or something. I'm going to eat more berries. And I think another person said, I'm going home to try this. The rest of the people, so it's almost like 99% of the people I knew told me, oh, I couldn't do that. My family wouldn't eat that way. Oh, I couldn't do that. Fiber gives me gas. Oh, I couldn't, like, then you know what that made me think is
Yeah.
how often did I in my life before finding like my health journey, did I come at the answer with why I couldn't do it? Like, had people before
Yes.
presented me with this great opportunity, like Skye, I don't know, uh, do a fun run or do you want to join the netball team? Oh, I can't do that. My knee's sore. Do you like? I thought about how often I'm probably being presented with. So we need to think about not that you have to do it all, but like include some blueberries or
Yes.
some sticks with dip or some raw guacamole or like how can I do
What
little bits
can I do?
what can I do and do little bits of goodness for myself.
Right. Yeah, because it's your journey. So you really want to make it your tailored for you. And it is really hard to just wake up the next day. It's almost impossible to wake up the next day and switch your life completely 100%. Not that it can't be done, but it's good to tailor it to yourself. Like, what could I do? What could I do? What choice could I make? How could I make the better choice, the higher choice for myself? And what's a higher choice for me might not be the higher choice for Sky. So we're all unique and different, and come at it with self-love. I think that's what, Sky, you always talk about too. We both talk about self-love and making sure to come from the heart in your choices.
I
What's the
think if
most
I think
mhm.
if you start approaching something with like result orientated instead of love orientated, you will by default harm yourself. So let's say there's two situations, right, where there's this person who's eating a very dense and processed diet and they've got some health problems and they want to get healthy. There's two routes. You can start juicing and in their mind they're like, I'm going to get well really quickly, or there's like, okay, I need to quit this alcohol and lower processed food. That's going to be my first step, and they start working on it and finding ways that work for them, that feel good. They have challenges but they're addressing it, right? Or you jump on juice. Okay, what I notice is the reason people then juice immediately and fly all the way back to old habits is because you have to, if you don't come from self-love, if you go into it by this like I'm still going to drive myself through it, it's going to feel terrible, it's harming you.
Mm.
The action, like it's like over exercising. The juice may be good for you, but because you have to belt yourself through it, like you did this in the past, you have to push through, you are harming yourself. Okay, so when you start making better choices, you sit in the space and go, okay, I'm a pizza girl, I'm a pizza girly, I'm always going to like pizza. How do
Yeah.
I include this in my life because I want to eat healthy for the next 40 years? um, how do I include pizza? And you will evolve and you'll make mistakes, but it'll be your journey. And it's this finding this love, and this is what we come to earth for. We lose all of this ability to see that the soul is here to better itself. And this higher level of love is the highest vibration. So the reason is no matter what you choose to do, you have to choose to do it in love for it to eventually feel like you and good. I feel like feeling love
Yes.
is feeling like myself, not in love
Um,
with something out there, but in love with myself.
Absolutely. I agree. The love, that self-love, and you know, you can also look at raw as out of curiosity. Before I went raw, there were so many things that I didn't eat because I just didn't think about them or didn't have the opportunity. But now there's so many fruits and vegetables that I've tried that are so delicious. Like the way that I love zucchini, I didn't love it that way before. And you just try something new and try different ways of making it, and it's really fun, and you feel so good. You notice which foods make you feel so good and which foods don't, and it's always changing. I feel like, well, I always love zucchini and I always have since going raw, um but you just discover things. Like, it's a discovery. It's not just like, it's different. It the journey unfolds as you're on this path, I feel like.
It does. The whole fun of it is you don't know what's going to happen next. Like it's
Yeah.
not supposed to be a play by play. It's life. That's what we're changing here. It's not like one small area. You're completely changing. Well, I say
Yeah.
changing your life, right? But it's really about finding yourself. I feel like the
Right.
absolute highest level of I could say perfect. The best version of me is always sitting there. It's
Yeah.
really the actions I take reflect on who I am. Like really, like if I've been looking after myself, I get some movement and sunlight, and I put foods which serve me in my body. Is I seem to
Mhm.
sit in alignment, and then I start to make these choices which don't serve me. It starts to dive into facets of myself which just don't serve me anymore. And I think sometimes things
Yes.
come in life and we get pushed into them, but as I crawl out, the strength I get, like I feel like as I've gone through this big trauma that's come up recently, so many addictions came up, like at such high levels. But the strength I have now is stronger because I kept climbing along with the fresh foods and nature and good choices. It says something wrong
Oh,
with
I
my
love
why is
that.
it keeps saying this? Somebody else
It's
left. Why is it?
Oh, that's
Someone,
so weird because I can hear you. It's weird that they can't.
let me try the other one. Tell me if it's this one.
Yeah, the raw food journey is beautiful, because it can be your own journey, however it looks for you, and everyone does it a little bit differently, and it is a journey of self-love, I feel like, and it's like in becoming who you are. And it's hard to explain it unless you've been through it, but I felt that too. I know a lot of different healing techniques, a lot of different energy healing, different like hypnotherapy, EFT, all this kind of thing. But when I went raw, I really did feel like myself, like who I'm truly meant to be. And then when you feel good, um, you attract good, like you attract more into your world, and it's easier to manifest your dreams too. Like, um, I don't know, just everything becomes clear, and and I find that different relationships that aren't meant for me fall away, and people that are meant to be in my life, they're around me now, and it's just like a domino effect. It's so incredible.
I agree. Does that sound better?
It does sound better.
Really?
Yeah, it does. You sound more clear to me.
Okay.
Uh,
Anybody tell me if my sound sounds better? So that's a shame because I didn't realize that it was so bad. But anyway,
I didn't notice that either. Like, I could hear you.
yeah, that's weird. So anybody out there listening,
Is it
Uh,
better?
you just when you hold it, yes. Maybe I just have to hold it. Maybe it was just because it was clipped to my top. I switched the microphone over too, so maybe that's a better one. Um, yeah, I just look when it comes to trauma, I feel like we need to process it, but sometimes it's better to first learn to look after ourselves before we start trying to process it. Because if you've got a whole lot of toxins in your system, you're making a whole lot of bad choices. I feel like all you default to by nature is more addictive tendencies, even if you think you're not. Like, even if you're like, I'm going to start creating good habits, if you have this negative self talk loop, which is really bad. In fact, my self talk, I didn't realize was I've done courses, read books before, and I'm a pretty high vibe person, but I never realized by default and by nature, my inner dialogue was so low until I filled my
Mm.
body with fresh foods. And then I was like, oh my God, like I love me. I love my choice. I love this.
Yes.
And I was like, I was never like this before.
It's like turning on a light switch, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it feels so like clean and clear and refreshing, and just you feel good. And then because yeah, if I make a choice, a poor food choice, I notice immediately in my thoughts. I'll be
Yes.
like, "Wait, I'm not thinking, why am I thinking this?" And then I'm like, "Oh, I wonder what I'm putting in my body. Like, what am I eating?" And then as soon as I go back to the green juices, the raw, all of that, it switches over, just like turning a light switch on.
It definitely does. It definitely raw food is amazing. That's why because people always go, it's not just the food, but for me, I can't do the other things without the food. Like for me,
Mhm.
food is the foundation. Like it builds me, and then the way I interpret things, the way I think. Even if I was to go and stand outside and I'd eaten a whole lot of, when I say bad raw foods, I'd eaten handfuls of cashews. You know,
Mm.
I don't know, a lot of dehydrated food is. I would go outside. I just don't get the same benefits. Like I stand there and I usually ruminate. I just overthink things. I make
Yes.
mountain out of a molehill. It's not really there.
Mhm.
And then if I'd eaten like more water-rich foods, like I'd done apples, cucumber, a green juice, a salad that had like lemon juice and maybe a tiny bit of maybe some dried herbs on top or something, even more fresh herbs. The more water-based I eat, the more everything sits in alignment. The more that I sit in some sort of processed and density, even I
Oh,
think juicing, there's this balance, right? I believe we are so dehydrated in the way the planet is that juicing helps, but I still feel juicing, I can throw myself almost like out because I try to do too much too fast. Like because you are, it basically will not the same stimulation, but it's the body wants balance. The more things go in the right balanced order, I just find everything works. But of course, we come from different like I'm a big fan of juice. I don't have my stomach. I find like I can like get myself going too fast from juice, like that I've got myself too enlightened. Maybe is the words.
yes, not grounded. I
Yeah,
felt that way
yeah,
as well, because I
yeah.
really want the fruit. I want fruit. Like, I just would probably wanna eat fruit, 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 but then I feel like I'm flying.
That it's about finding a balance, right? And then it's
Right.
also you don't sometimes when you've gone a bit denser, you don't realize you're self-sabotage, and all of a sudden you're in this situation until you get some fresh food and you're like, oh, I really just made that all up. Like it wasn't really there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Both of you sound great and have from the start. Yeah, I wonder why people are saying this thing about sound. So somebody who's watching over on Instagram has said, you both sound great and have from the start. It may have just been lower because it wasn't pinned.
Oh,
Um,
maybe so. Okay.
to the chest. So when it was pinned to the chest before. Okay,
Hmm.
well that's the podcast.
Yeah,
I love this
it was so
topic. Um,
good.
and I hope everybody enjoyed. We will be back next week with more raw magic. And it's my birthday, so I will be booking online a
Yay.
birthday party. So if you follow me on YouTube or Instagram, I'll be promoting it everywhere. So we'll be having an online party and Marabella, I think the other Skye is going to be there. Who else I saw? Miranda's coming. I think Kiko's coming.
Yeah.
Online raw food party. Couple of hours of talking and raw food.
Yay! This was great. Do you want to hear just before we leave about Venus entering Libra today?
I would love to hear about that.
Okay.
Go.
So Venus is entering Libra. Venus I'm Libra. Venus is entering our sign. And so this is some really good news, guys. It's expect to see strengthening in your relationships and in your partnerships. So expect good things in your partnerships. Um, expect to see a little bit more balance and a little bit more fairness in your world. um, Notice all the beauty out there and let it inspire you, because it's a good time to be inspired by beauty. Also, um, it's a good time to heal all of your relationships through communication. It's a really good time for healing your relationships. And um, connect more deeply with what brings you peace. It's a really good time for connecting in with peace. So that's
Thank
what's going on.
you. I
Yay!
love, we
Good
want good
news.
choices. I think the biggest thing that's coming out of this is that it's like balance, good
Yes,
choices. Find what works for you and makes you feel better and better and better, guys. All
exactly.
right.
Yay, this was so fun. Love you.
Bye. Have a great weekend.